Welcome to part 11 of my 2020 mandala. Getting started on round 49, you would be starting in this single crochet right here, and how to tell where you are. You have these two half double crochets on either side of your butterfly. The other butterflies have 3 stitches between them. So, and this one is also lined up with our heart right here. I am going to be skipping round 49 on this piece, but I will show you quickly how to work it up. It's a really easy round of nothing but half double crochets. So for myself, I can start with a chain 2. If you're right here in this single crochet, you can start with a chain 2 or a standing stitch. And for this round, you're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch. Our chain 2 spaces are going to count as 1 stitch. So in there, work 1 half double crochet. Half double crochet in the single crochet, and then 1 half double crochet in that chain 2 space. Now you have 2 half double crochet here. They would each get a half double crochet, and then 1 half double crochet in the chain 2, 1 in the single crochet, 1 in the chain 2, and then you have those 3 stitches. So continue working a half double crochet in each stitch around if you're working round 49. I'm going to skip it and get started on round 50. Getting started on round 50, this mandala is broken into 12 sections, and we have this butterfly above our heart right here, and we have 2 half double crochets on either side. The single crochet in that butterfly, you can put a stitch marker, and you can do this in every section. And then over here we have these 3 half double crochets. In this middle one, in the center, we're going to put a stitch marker right there. So we're working a half double crochet in each stitch around, and then in this stitch right here, we will be working 2 half double crochets, and in this stitch right here, we will be working a chain 5 peacock. To work this round, we're going to work the same as the last round. If you're following the pattern, you're in this stitch right here, and you can start with a chain 2 if you're carrying up the yarn. If you are changing the yarn, you can start with a standing stitch. And we are working a half double crochet in each stitch, working the chain 2 spaces 1 stitch only. And then in these stitch markers, we have a special stitch to do. In this single crochet, we are working 2 half double crochets. Continue working a half double crochet in each stitch. Chain 2 spaces count as 1. And we're going to continue over to our next stitch marker. So we have 3 half double crochets here. Oh. Alright, so we're at the next stitch marker. I'm going to remove it. We're going to work a half double crochet in there, We're going to work a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that last half double crochet that we worked, if you look at the stitch, you have the V. We're going to stick our hook in the center of that, underneath that one strand of yarn, and then continue under that next strand of yarn to work a slip stitch. Now we're going to continue working a half double crochet in each stitch. And before I continue doing that, I'm going to go and put my stitch markers in the next 2 stitches that I need to work in. So we're looking for those 2 half double crochet for that butterfly lined up with our heart. In that single crochet, we're working 2 half double crochets. Now we have those 3 sections of 3 half double crochets in the middle one, in the center half double crochet. Put your stitch marker to work your 5 chain picot. So we're going back over here. I'll continue working and showing you those stitches one more time. So we are working a half double crochet in each stitch. Chain 2 spaces, act as 1 stitch. Now I'm going to remove this stitch marker because it's getting in my way. We still need a half double crochet in the chain 2 space. Now in that single crochet, we're working 2 half double crochets. 1, 2. Continue working a half double crochet in each stitch to your next stitch marker. That first one's always kind of tricky. I'm going to remove this, get it out of my way to work these stitches. Alright, so now in that next stitch we're working a half double crochet. We're going to chain 5. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and in the top of that half double crochet we have that V stitch. I'm going to insert my hook in the middle under that strand and under the next one and work a slip stitch. Now we're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch. Before we do that, zoom out a little bit, and we're going to put our stitch markers in, and you can continue working up this round. So the single crochet above the heart and the center half double crochet of those group of 3s right here. Continue repeating that around, joining with a slip stitch to your beginning half double crochet. Getting started on round 51, if you're following along with the pattern, you would have joined, there's these 2 half double crochet that's aligned with this heart here. You would have joined in the second one here, and for myself I have to play catch up. I'm going to work a chain, I'm going to skip a stitch, slip stitch in the next. I need to do that again. Chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next. If you're starting in this half double crochet right here, slip stitch in this half double crochet, and that is the start of the repeat for the round. Now we are going to work a chain, skip a stitch, slip stitch in the next, a total of 4 times. So I've done that once. Now we're going to chain 1, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, that's 2. Chain 1, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, that's 3. Once more, I just want to make sure. So skip 1, slip stitch in the next. Now we're going to work a chain 2. We're going to skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next. That brings us with 3 stitches before our chain 5 right here. Next we're going to work a 2 triple crochet cluster in our chain 5. To do that, we're going to yarn over twice, insert your hook into the chain 5 space, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 to make your first cluster, yarn over, insert your hook into that same chain 5, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 to make your second cluster, yarn over, draw through 3, yarn over, draw through the last 2, and that is our 2 triple crochet cluster. Now we have a little repeat that we need to do a total of 6 times, which is to work a chain and then 2 triple crochet cluster in that chain 5. So I've done that once, chain, 2 triple crochet cluster in the chain 5. I've done that twice. I'm going to work up my 6 repeats here. Oops, I forgot to yarn over there and I'm stuck. Here we are. So that's 3. I have to count or I will lose my place. That's 4. Five, and 1 more for a total of 6 repeats. You should have a total of 7 clusters. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch in the next, chain 2, 1, 2, skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next. Now we have that little repeat to do 4 times, which is to chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next. So I've done that once, chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, that's 2, chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, that's 3, chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, that's 4, and it brings us back to where we started. We still need to work a chain. That is the repeat for the round. I've done it once. I'll show you again. We're going to skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next. Now we have that little repeat we need to do 4 times, which is to chain 1, skip 1, slip stitch in the next. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Chain 2, 1, 2, skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, now working a 2 triple crochet cluster in that chain 5 space. So working 2 clusters, There's 1, 2, draw through 3, draw through the last 2. So that's our first cluster. And then we have that little repeat, which is to chain, and then work the 2 triple crochet cluster in the same chain 5 space, a total of 6 times. So that's once. I'm going to work them up here. That's 2. 3, 4, 5. You can move these along the chain 5 a little to make some room. 1 more here for a total of 6. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches, slip stitch in the next, chain 2, 1, 2, skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next. We have that little repeat of a chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, a total of 4 times. That was once, twice, chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, 3, chain, skip 1, slip stitch in the next, that's 4. We're going to chain 1 more, and that brings us back to where we started. When you finish this round, you can slip stitch in the same half double crochet that you joined in and fasten off. Getting started on round 52, between these little clusters here we have a chain 2 space, and then you should have 9 chain spaces in between. The pattern calls for you to start in the center one. I'm going to start on the right hand side. You can pick up at any point where you are. So this is our first chain space. In here we're getting started on the repeat for the round, which is to work a B stitch. So we're going to yarn over and then draw through 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on our hook for our first B stitch. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little repeats that we need to do, which is to chain, work a B stitch in the next chain space. So a B stitch, we don't yarn over first. We're going to draw up a loop, yarn over, insert into that same chain space, yarn over, draw up a loop with 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, draw through all 4 for the B stitch. So I've done that repeat once. I need to do it 8 times, chain, B stitch in the next chain space. That's 2, chain, B stitch in the next. So you can pick up, if you're carrying up the yarn along the way, chain, B stitch in the next chain space. So it will have a total of 9 B stitches. I believe that's my last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to work a 2 double crochet cluster V stitch in our next chain space. So right in here, we're going to work a 2 double crochet cluster, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 for your first cluster. yarn over, insert into that same chain space, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over and draw through the last 3 for your 2 double crochet cluster. And we're making a V-stitch, so we need a chain, and then we're going to work another 2 double crochet cluster in that same chain space. So making 2 clusters, and then yarn over through all 3. So we're going to repeat that in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains, 2 double crochet cluster in the next chain space. Chain, 2 double crochet cluster in that same chain space to make a 2 double crochet cluster V-stitch. So I've done that twice. We're going to make a 2 double crochet cluster V-stitch in the next chain space. So working our 2 double crochet cluster, chain, 2 double crochet cluster in the same stitch. Oop. So we've got 3 more V-stitches to go. Trying to be able to see on the camera here. Alright, and then 1 more V-stitch. Oh, I lost my pattern here. Alright. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochet cluster V-stitches, and that brings us back to where we started. That's the repeat for the round. Continue working that around a total of 12 times, joining with a slip stitch to your beginning B-stitch. So making sure to skip the chain 2 spaces. Getting started on round 53, if you are in the center carrying up your yarn, you can start with the chain and pick up with me when I go past. For myself, I'm going to start in this B stitch, which is to the left of my cluster hump here. And we're going to start the repeat for the round with a slip stitch in that B stitch. Now we have a little repeat that we need to do 7 times, which is to chain 2, 1, 2, I'm going to set my tail aside here, and then work a single crochet in the next B stitch. So we need to do that 7 times, chain 2, 1, 2, single crochet in the next B stitch. That's twice, chain 2, single crochet in that next B stitch. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 more for 7. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then slip stitch in that last B stitch. Now we have a chain. Next we're going to work a 4 half double crochet pop in our cluster V stitch. So in that chain space we are working 4 half double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Draw up a loop, remove your hook, insert it into your beginning half double crochet, Back into your working loop, tighten, and draw up a loop for your pop. Now we have a repeat that we need to do 5 times, which is to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then work a 4 half double crochet pop in the next cluster V-stitch, so in that chain space, working 4 half double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Draw up a loop, make your pop. And that's that little repeat. I've done it once. We're going to chain 5. And then work that 4 half double crochet pop in the next cluster V-stitch in that chain space. Working 4, whoops, half double crochets. And then making your pop. So I've done the repeat twice. I need to do that 3 more times. Chain 5, 4 half double crochet pop in the next cluster V-stitch. I'm just going to move my piece here to work the next one. We're going to chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and then working that 4 half double crochet pop in the next cluster V-stitch. 4 half double crochets. There's 2, 3, 4, making our pop. So that is 4 repeats. Oh, I can't see on camera here. Where are you? There we are. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Working that 4 half double crochet pop in the chain of the cluster V-stitch. That's the last repeat, and then we're going to work a chain. That brings us back to where we started. I've done the repeat once. Do that a total of 12 times, joining with a slip stitch to your beginning B stitch. Getting started on round 54, if you're in the center here carrying up the yarn, you can start with a chain and then pick up when I get to that spot. For myself, I'm going to start in the same spot we started the last round in this B stitch here, which is from round 52. And we're going to work a slip stitch in there. And then we have a little repeat that we need to do a total of 7 times, which is to chain 2. 1, 2, and I'll let my tail go now. And we are going to work a B stitch in that single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop with 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, draw through all 4. So that is the little repeat we need to do 7 times. Chain 2, 1, 2, B stitch in the next single crochet. That's 2, chain 2, 1, 2, V-stitch in the next single crochet. That's 3, chain 2, V-stitch in the next single crochet. That's 4, chain 2, V-stitch in the single crochet. That's 5, chain 2, V-stitch in the next single crochet, chain 2, and then this is our last one. I stopped counting there. We're going to chain 2 and then slip stitch in that same V-stitch as that slip stitch from the last round. We are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then work a front post single crochet in the next pop. So working around the post, a single crochet, now working in round 53, there is that chain 5 space. We're going to be working 5 half double crochets in there, and this is getting started on a little repeat that we need to do a total of 5 times. 5 double crochet in that chain 5 space. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more for 5, and then work a front post around that pop, a single crochet. That's the little repeat we need to do 5 times. Work 5 double crochet in the next chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more for 5. Working a front post single crochet in the next pop. So I've done that twice. I need to do that 3 more times. 5 double crochet in the next chain 5. And then a front post single crochet in the next pop. I got 2 more repeats to do. I need to untangle my work here so I can move it. 5 double crochet in the next chain 5 space. Whoop. Front post single crochet in the next pop. So we have 1 repeat left. 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more for 5. Front post single crochet in the next pop. So that was the 5th repeat, and then we are going to work a chain 2. Oop. 1, 2. That brings us back to where we started. That's the repeat for the round. Do that a total of 12 times, joining with a slip stitch in that beginning V stitch here. That brings us to the end of this section. For more crochet patterns, tutorials, and yarn shop, please visit my blog, dearestdebbie.com.